Hey, there's some new faces here, and I've always wanted to do one of these, so get ready with me while I tell you the story of my band and how I met my husband. I've never talked and done my makeup at the same time, so I don't know if I can do this. So I went to school with my husband in high school very briefly for like a semester when we were 14. He didn't really talk. We ate lunch together at the same table, and I asked him for his fries one time, and that was pretty much it. Then he dropped out and went and got GED and never heard from him again. Fast forward to a few years ago, I'm working as a home hospice nurse, and I've also always kind of been a musician on the side, like playing guitar and singing it in bars and stuff. So I go to a patient's house that I'm assigned to, and he happens to come there the same time I'm in to assess the patient. And he said when he walked in, he heard my voice and was like, "That's that Mary Catherine girl from high school," and just immediately recognized my voice because obviously it's really distinct. Somehow, at some point during the conversation, we were just like, "Oh, hey, I remember you from high school." And that was about it. His dad was with him, and at some point, it got brought up that I was a musician, but not much ever came out of that. And then that was the end of that. Fast forward to 9 months later, I get a message out of the blue on Facebook from this guy, from Anthony. And I had been going through a really tough time with my music, feeling like I wasn't, doing well, perceived well, that I was just kind of going nowhere with it. And I had all these songs written and could never get them out there, and was being told that, because I live in a beach town, that people just want to hear, they don't want to hear my original music, they just want to hear covers, and like covers that they know, like Wagon Wheel and shit like that. And that's just not me. I've always been like a grunge type writer and singer. So I get this message from Anthony that says, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me from high school and from so-and-so's house, but I was creeping on your Facebook and I saw your cover of The Rooster by Alice in Chains, and oh shit, I did that wrong. And I just wanted you to know that I just started a band with some of my neighbors, and it's kind of grunge and we're into that, and was wondering if you wanted to be the lead singer." So I cut that off too early. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it, whatever." So I go to the first practice that weekend. Anthony didn't think I was gonna go. I get there and I had to bring my daughter. She came with me. She was only 6 at the time. And when I come in, his mom was like, "I know you don't recognize us, but we know your daughter." And she proceeds to show me a picture of where his dad and her had played Santa and Mrs. Claus, and my daughter was sitting on their lap. It was like some Christmas photo we had made at like this Christmas tree place. So I thought that was kind of cool, and it was like a little bit of synchronicity. So we go into practice and we fucking sucked. Oh my God, we sucked, but whatever, it was fun. So I left, and I guess the rest of the band looked at Anthony and told him, "Yeah, she's never gonna come back here." And they thought that was the end of that. And Anthony was like, "No, I think she'll come back." But I left feeling good and thought, well, whatever, we can, work this out. This is fun. I've never been in a band before. No one's ever believed in me enough to ask me to be a lead singer. So I kept going back. So we would have band practice about every weekend. And afterwards, I don't know, it just, me and Anthony, I would just stay while everybody else went home. We had only 2 other members. While they would go home, and we would just stay and kind of talk and just shoot the shit, what have you. And then one night after band practice, I stayed and we talked for hours, and then I went home and I got a text message from him that night while we were talking about what should we name our band. And he was like, "Hey, I need to ask you something. It's okay if your answer is no, we can still be a band. I was wondering if I could take you out to dinner." And I really thought he was cute, and I really liked our conversations. I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go to dinner." So we go to dinner at this local place in town that we like, and then we go to one of my favorite bars, JM's Pub, and we watch a band and we have a good night. And then we come back to my house, and Anthony was a total gentleman. This was back when we were both still drinking, and I drank a lot. And Anthony went and laid down on the couch because I didn't want him to get, trying to drive home all the way to the next town over because he'd been drinking. I was laying in my bedroom. Went to sleep. About 1 o'clock in the morning, I woke up like vomiting profusely. I mean, nonstop. It was so bad. It was like every 30 seconds I was vomiting, and I could not hold it down. I think it was about after the 20th time that I had vomited, Anthony was in my room and was like, hey, I think you need to go to the hospital. And I'm a nurse by trade, that's what I do. And if you know anything about nurses, you know we don't like to go to the hospital unless we're dying. But at that point, I was in severe pain in my stomach and I really thought something was wrong. So here it is, 3 o'clock in the morning. Anthony's driving me to the hospital. I'm throwing up all in his car. I can't stop. This is on our first date. We get to the hospital. They're trying to check me in. I can't even say anything. I can't even tell them my name because I cannot stop throwing up. I cannot stop. So Anthony's having to go through my purse and look at my driver's license and tell them like my full name and like my date of birth because he didn't know any of that because it's our first date. So I get checked in, they admit me, everything was fine. I don't know if I had a stomach bug or if I drank too much, I don't know. But it took like a bunch of different IV medications to get me under control. We stay there all night, so he's literally seeing me at my worst. It's so fucking embarrassing. And then they do a CAT scan, everything looked good. And then they send me home at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So this is our whole date, the whole night is still going. He drives me home at 7, gets me Pedialyte, tucks me into bed, and then he goes and sleeps on the couch and I sleep and we wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then I have to go play a gig. And then we've been inseparable ever since. I really don't know if I can do my eyeliner and tell you guys the story at the same time because I'm really bad. I just started learning how to do my eyeliner. So we waited a few band practices before we told the rest of the band, like, hey, we're dating. It was just 2 other guys, our other friends. And we're like, hey, just so you guys know, we're dating. And they kind of figured it out already. And they're like, cool, just don't Yoko Ono us, as if I was going to be the problem. So then we get our 5th band member. So I'm still working as a hospice nurse at this time, which, by the way, absolutely love it. It is such an amazing job. Hospice is incredible. It's hard, yes, but it's a great job. Anyways, so I'm working as a hospice nurse and I work alongside this other nurse named Mariah. And we're kind of acquaintances. We're not like super close, but we're friends on Facebook and kind of have the same sense of humor. And one day she randomly texts me, and at this point the band had only been together about 2 months. And occasionally I would post like videos on Facebook of like our rehearsal, or not rehearsal, but just practice, like jamming out. And her husband played guitar and was also really into grunge. And she randomly messaged me on Facebook after I posted a video and jokingly was like, can my husband join your band? I was like, yeah, sure, tell him to come to practice, which she was not expecting. So Chris comes to practice and we all just kind of jam and vibe out with the 5 of us. And from that moment forward, we were a 5-piece band with 2 lead guitar players. And we busted our asses every week. We had our rehearsal space is this old shed at Anthony's parents' house that has no air conditioner or heat. So we would just be out there sweating our asses off in like 110-degree heat because we loved it and we loved practicing together. We started to book gigs here at local bars and started to get better and just really enjoyed our time together. And then in November, Anthony proposed to me. I finished the rest of my makeup because this was like too much and I'm sorry about all the details and how long this is. Thank you if you're still here. So he proposed to me. We got married in April. We naturally had all the guys were in our bridal party. The whole band was our bridal party. Our bass player was an ordained minister. He jokingly did it one night. So he married us. Chris's wife, Mariah, had become my best friend at that point. She was my maid of honor. We get married and we had our reception at that same bar that we went to, which is also the same bar we had our first gig at, and the same bar that me and Anthony went to on our first date before I started vomiting. And we had a reception there and our band played there and it was a great time. Fast forward a year and a half later, the band is still together and we are now opening up for Bad Motorfinger on October 20th at Hooligans. So hit me up for tickets. They're only $12 a piece. And this all happened because somebody believed in me and saw potential in me when I didn't see it in myself.